It's dark out there. I'm not speaking metaphorically, although I guess I could be. I'm speaking literally. It's dark out there. Last year sometime, I started following a TikTok account of a woman who lives in Svalbard. Does anyone know about Svalbard? Which is one of the northernmost places human beings live in the world. And in November, she posted this video entitled "The Last Sunset of 2024." Because Svalbard is dark for 3 months every winter. During that time, the sun never rises. This is called polar night. I grew up in Northern California, a much lower latitude than Svalbard. Growing up for me, it rained every once in a while, and in order to see snow, we had to drive to it. We would visit the snow every winter and drive for 2 hours to go play. Hot sun and cold sun were the two main seasons, provided cold was anything under 65 degrees, with a break for a rainy downpour every once in a while. When I was 18, I moved to Seattle in Washington State. This was the place that taught me about seasons and about weather. Seattle is a higher latitude than here in New York State, which means more daylight in the summer and less in the winter by a couple of hours either way. But what is Seattle known for? Rain, that's right. But it should be known for the clouds. Chicago gets more inches of rain than Seattle does, but there are few places in our country that have as many overcast days. In the 28 years I lived there, I learned who I am when the sun doesn't come out for more than 100 days in a row. I learned it lots of times. I got to know who I am when the darkness goes on forever. And I can tell you, it's a real thing. A lot of us struggle in the dark. People who live in the Pacific Northwest long enough learn to forget. In the spring, they forget about winter and revel in the longer days. In the summer, they forget there was ever anything else at all. Seattleites in the summer have never heard of rain or clouds or any place better to live. And in the winter, well, they forget about all the other seasons because remembering them can be painful after the Christmas lights are down and the festivities are over. And they are still stuck in the dark, gray, wet gloom of winter. One of the most surprising and glorious revelations to me about winter here in New York is how sunny it is. Everyone's been apologizing to me, like, it's not usually this cold. And I'm like, I don't care. The sun is out. I'm drunk on it. It's amazing. Because the thing about darkness, friends, and sadness, is that it can be lonely. It's hard to see who else is here in the dark. This is the goodness of wintertime, anywhere in the northern hemisphere, maybe. When you literally dwell in darkness, you learn something about the power of even just a little bit of light. Candlemas is a tradition born out of climates like this, places where people needed a little more time with light in the midst of winter darkness. In some traditions, this was the end of the Christmas season, and in many parts of the northern European world, all the Christmas decorations and nativity scenes stay up and out until today. So if your Christmas tree is still up, you're good. We gather and light candles because it is dark out there, and we need light. And now I think I'm speaking more than literally. Most of us understand the mystery and power of candles burning in the darkness. Tonight we light candles because it is dark out there. and because we belong to and with the one who came to be the light. We meet Simeon tonight, and he is someone who knows something about darkness. Simeon is waiting for the light to come to his people, to Israel. We aren't told how long he's been waiting, but the fact that the gospel writer feels the need to tell us that Simeon has been told he won't see death before he sees the Messiah tells us something. Simeon is usually pictured as a very old man. He's been waiting a long time. He is Jewish. His people are occupied and oppressed. Simeon knows something about waiting and darkness and about listening and faith. So the Spirit guides him to the temple, and while he is there, his eyes see a spark of light. Simeon also knows something about the light. We hear what he knows when he sings his song, one of my favorite prayers. We heard the choir sing a version of it. We heard a version of it in the gospel. I love our Right to BCP version. Lord, you now have set your servant free to go in peace as you have promised. My eyes have seen the Savior, whom you have prepared for all the world to see, a light to enlighten the nations and the glory of your people, Israel. Simeon knows how light works, that it cannot be contained, even when darkness is all around it. Simeon knows that this light, the light he perceives in the vulnerable baby before him, is not just for one people or one place or one time. This is the light for all the nations, the light that will banish every darkness. Anna knows something about darkness too. She is elderly and she is widowed. In her time and place, that was especially bad luck. Some would say a curse, to be married only a little while and then widowed for most of your life. Anna knows about darkness, but she does not belong to it. She lives in the temple and waits for the light. This is what makes her a prophet, that she is so close to God, that she knows when she is bathed in the light of hope, the light of love, the light of the world. Here tonight, this is the miracle of the baby Jesus. It's the last one we get here on the feast of the presentation of Candlemas. Mary and Joseph bring their infant to the temple so that he will belong. Religious rites and rituals, they are how we band together and ward off the darkness. We know this deep in our bones. In all the cultures of the human world, we know we cannot survive without the blessing of belonging. So Mary and Joseph bring their child to be presented to God, to ensure that he will belong to God and have a refuge in the dark. But this child does not need a refuge. This child is God, come to be with us in all of our brokenness, in the midst of every deep, dark sadness, in the midst of oppression and danger and heartache and despair. Jesus is with us. The child who has been brought to be blessed is a blessing. Here he is, our tiny, vulnerable flame, a light in the dark. So, okay, good for Simeon, good for Anna, but what about us? Our world is very dark these days. This winter and this week has felt like a relentless storm. Our migrant friends live in fear. Our LGBTQ plus siblings wonder if they still get to belong. And we don't know what will happen next. So what does baby Jesus in the temple do for us? Here it is. Here's the truth that no darkness can hide. You belong to the light. You are a child of the light. Simeon and Anna and the child they recognize and bless reveal a truth to us that we cannot let go, no matter how long it is dark out there. Look, good things begin in darkness. The Spirit moved over the chaos of the deep before the first light. Hope, faith, even love. We don't usually discover these things when life is perfect, which is a good thing because life is never perfect. That's not what human life is for. Jesus is here. Jesus is with us, being born in a stable and blessed in a temple and scolded by his parents when they can't find him, and moved to weeping when someone he loves dies, and moved to anger when he sees injustice. Jesus is here, loving and hurting and hungering in the wilderness and suffering on a cross. Jesus is here, which means that we are never, ever left alone in the dark. You belong to the light, even when all we have is a small, blessed candle to remind us. A light has come to enlighten the nations, and you do not just belong to that light. You bear it. You carry it with you. So today, if you are sad, if things are dark, please know you're not alone. We are in this together. And if you are not sad, well, burn brightly. It might be your turn to prophesy. The light will come back. Spring is just around the corner. But friends, all we need is a spark. We come together and light candles because Jesus is here with us in all things. Let's remember how light works and come close to our light. Jesus is here with us, which means that no matter how sad and long and dark the winter is, we will never be left alone in the dark.